Welcome back to SleeplessRonin Plays. And I do mean welcome back. I have been on a very long hiatus, and a lot's changed since then. I've had to build a new computer, I've had to get used to new software, update some things, get used to a whole bunch of other stuff. But I am back, hopefully for a good while. We'll see. We're going to start off this return, though, by going back to my classic Battletech roots for videos, and that is with a tier list. Yay, right? Okay, so I was reading my technical readouts. I often read my technical readouts. I really enjoy reading my technical readouts. And I read this one. And I was noticing something in this one. There's a lot of mechs in here we don't have in plastic yet. Or mechs we don't have plans listed for in plastic. I mean, we've all seen the videos I've done, or I hope you've all seen the videos I've done, talking about the upcoming mechs through 2026, which at this point in time has probably been pushed back to 2027, considering how delayed stuff is, because, yeah, the Creative packs have now been delayed until early 2026, and they were supposed to have been out this year, or earlier this year by the original schedule. I mean, they are... when I saw that, my brain said all of this stuff was at least 6 to 8 months too fast. And I might have been being generous on that. So, yeah. They're coming. They're just not coming very fast. We also do have a couple, like 4 Aces packs that are coming, of which we know the contents of one, and a few mechs out of another one. I don't know what's the other ones. Well, we know the factions, but we don't know, like, the mechs that are in them. So, maybe some of these designs are going to be hidden in there. But what we have, I have a list right here of 61 mechs that we don't have in plastic or have plans for plastic that I know of at the moment. So, these mechs do not come from 3025 at all. They come from, like, older readouts, like 2750, 3050, 3055, 3058. I did not go any further than that, because I could have definitely gone further, but I decided to leave them at the scope of the video. 2 mechs from 2750 through 3058 that don't have plastic mechs or plans for mechs in plastic. So we're going to rate these and put them in a tier list. And this is kind of just a personal wish list for the mechs to go. And we're going to start with, these are probably coming. I think these are mechs that are likely to be somewhere in the pipeline at some point in time. We really need these in plastic are like... Oh, sorry. These are probably coming. Sorry. Are the mechs that are, well, as you'll see on here, look like they're probably already in the pipeline. We just don't have any word of it. We really need these in plastic are the mechs that I personally really want to see in plastic. These would be nicer ones I'd like to see in plastic. I'm just not as obsessed with the mech. Take it or leave it mechs are, as it sounds, I don't care if we get it or don't get it anytime soon in plastic. I like to see eventually every mech come out in plastic, but the ones in this category, let's just say we can leave to the end. And they do not need are a very special set of mechs that, well, we, in my opinion, really don't need them in plastic because they kind of already exist in one form or another. So, with that said, let's start with, from the first 5 mechs are from 2750. And the first one up is the little light mech, the Thorn. And it would be nice. The Thorn's a light mech with a medium laser and... Two medium lasers? And an LRM-5, right? It's not brilliant. It's not great. Not bad. It would be an interesting counterpart. It kind of seems like it fits like the 3rd slot of the Wasp, Stinger, Thorn category of blank with missile, medium with missile, medium with machine gun, medium with long-range missile. So it kind of fits there, but I don't really think we need it. It's never been my favorite little light mech. Whereas the Hussar, we really need that in plastic because there's nothing more fun than high speed, no armor, and one gun. The Hussar, it goes there and shoots, and if it gets hit by like anything, it dies. The Wyvern is a mech we badly need in plastic because the artwork is just a robot man. And that's kind of boring and needs an update. I mean, it should still look like a robot man, but it needs to be more than just a robot man. I mean, it's C-3PO with an arm pod or whatever. It's or a shoulder tower. It's a weird design, and it's a solid medium mech, but it could really use a massive update. I'm going to put the champion in. These would be nice because I much prefer my airplane-looking mechs to come from Clan Snow Raven. Personal preference. The Bombardier is a take it or leave it because it's, to me, always been an inferior archer, so I don't really care about using it or even having it on the battlefield when almost anybody that could use it would use an archer anyway. So the Bombardier to me has always felt like one of those mechs that's just a duplicate on paper. It's like a lesser archer. That's the 2750s. We got 3050 category right now, and the first up is the Hornet, and that's a take it or leave it because, again, it's a light mech I just don't care that much about. Whereas the Falcon is a light mech that it would be nice, but I'm not going to lose my mind over not getting it. Unlike the Wolf Trap, which is one that I personally love the mech. I've always liked the way it looks. I like the design. Is it brilliant? Not really. Is it actually a Wolfhound killer like it's supposed to be? Probably not. But I like the design, and it's a Krita mech that Krita could have like 6 of its own force packs without duplicates, and you'd barely fit all the Krita mechs in there. The next up is the Imp, and I'm going to say it's a take it or leave it mech. I know a lot of people like the Imp. It's a big energy boat assault mech. But to me, I've never really enjoyed its aesthetic of a golf ball on legs. And I'm saying golf ball because that's the more polite thing of why I want to say about it. Whereas the little golf ball on legs called the Fireball, I do think we really need in plastic because there's nothing quite like saying hello with a bad weapons complement at a really high speed. I like the Fireball. It's very fast. With the basic ALM, has a terrible weapons load of 1 machine gun and a Streak SRM-2. Yay, my top damage is the equivalent of a medium pulse laser. In 3 locations, potentially. No, when they swap out some of the crappy weapons for medium lasers, it becomes a much more competent mech and a much better mech, but still it's very fast and very fun. The Dart, same kind of idea, really neat in plastic. It's very fast. If it didn't have pulse weapons, it could have been like a 3025 era mech. And the small pulses are no good on it. When it gets the medium lasers, much better variant, much more fun. I like the looks of it. It's like that nice little speed helmet kind of like going on. I like to see the modern thing. But the Tarantula is one we desperately need in plastic. For the big reason of, I don't know what the modern metal model of the Tarantula looks like, or feels like, or is like, but the one I had, the original Tarantula metal model, was a disaster. It was huge. It took up like 4 or 5 map-size hex sheets because of how long the base was, and it was fiddly, and it never held together. I pinned that sucker's legs, and they'd still fall off. They were tiny, bad connection points. It was a miserable, miserable metal model. Make it in plastic and make it the right scale. I don't really care what the mech is like otherwise, but it badly needs to be redone, so it's not an awful miniature. The Battlehawk is going to go into take it or leave it because let's be very honest with the Battlehawk. It's a very slow, light mech with very short-range weapons. It can't get in range to hit you because it's not fast enough to get into range, so it's not a good mech. And it looks okay, but never been a huge fan of it. Whereas the Hammer we really need in plastic because the Hammer should be paired up with its brother, which we'll see in a few minutes. The Hitman also needs to be in plastic, but that's because I have really fond memories of the Hitman. I love my old Hitman miniature, my old metal one. I painted it up like a jester. It was in yellows and blues, a little like the pattern on the painting right there. I painted up with like little hexagon patterns on there. I love that little thing. Not a brilliant mech, but it was a lot of fun. Not brilliant because it puts all of its guns in one arm, really, except for the LRM-5 rack. The Jackal, I would say it would be nice. I've never really liked the Jackal Mini, or the Jackal, period, as a design. So it'd be nice to see it have an update, mainly because if the updates, we often get new record sheets also, and it needs new record sheets badly. The Daimyo is going to be in the would be nice area also. The Daimyo is one of those this whole stretch of the next mechs, all the way through, I think the Grim Reaper down there, are from the 3055, old 3055 book, where they had the CGI templates. Let me pull these up. These are not brilliant pictures in any stretch of the imagination. Let me bring it up here. I mean, they're CGI in there. We've had one of these done. We had the Night Sky done out of these ones. But like they're just, the old original CGI was not the most brilliant thing in the world. And it's alright. It's fine. But like I'd like to see them modernized and brought up into the modern era. So this whole set right here, the whole slew of Daimyo, well, the Daimyo we put down, they would be nice because it's a purple alien to me. But the Watchman, the Komodo, the Snake, the Stealth, the Huron Warrior, the Apollo, the Grim Reaper, I'd like to see them all redone just in the modern aesthetic and really bringing them up to the modern era. Also, my 3055 technical readout's falling apart and those pages are starting to fall out of it. But those are some fun mechs. The Watchman's just a good solid, essentially Inner Sphere 3025 era mech that's just been recently produced. The Komodo's a fantastic little mech. It's got 10 medium lasers and it's nearly nearly able to handle all that heat. Other versions carry C3 slaves and C3 masters, which makes it an interesting mech overall. It's a great Kurita mech. Another missed opportunity to not put in a Kurita pack. The Snake is a not very good anti-elemental mech from Capella. I don't know why it's an anti-elemental mech. It baffles my mind because it's got streak SRM launchers instead of SRM launchers, which you could put Infernos in, which would be good thin, and you could kill elementals, but it has streak launchers instead, and streak launchers are not good for killing elementals. All they do is plink elementals. It's not an elemental killer. At least not the base version. So, I'd still like it to come out because it's a Capella mech, and I like Capella mechs. The Stealth is a misnomer until it gets stealth armor. The Huron Warrior, I personally have always loved the Huron Warrior. I love the big old headdress thing it's got on there, the giant sensor array, that's wonderful. It's not a good mech because its heat is incompetent. A lot of mechs are like that, but I mean in this case, it's because it has an ER large laser attached to single heat sinks, and ER large lasers are not good with single heat sinks. The Apollo is just a miniature archer, so it's okay. I mean, woo. The Grim Reaper, though, I really would love to see because I love the Grim Reapers. I don't know. I used to run them as like Word of Blake baddie mechs, and they're just fun that way. A whole bunch of them that goes, the Grim Reaper squad. They're great. I'd love to see those. But as much fun as those are, the Anvil is definitely one that I love to see because there we go. It's the older brother of the Hammer, or the bigger brother of the Hammer. Hammer Anvil would make a really good core pair for a Merrick pack. Just saying. I like them both. The Anvil I like a lot more than the Hammer, but I like them both. The Tempest is a mech that I think would really be served well in plastic also. You know, maybe reduce the beehive a little bit, but keep the shoulder pads going on. Fun mech. Always liked it. Love to see it in plastic. Another missed opportunity mech is the Daikyu. Another interesting looking Kurita mech. Double Ultra AC5, ERPPC. Is it brilliant? Not really. Is it fun? Sure. Does it look cool? Yeah, actually kind of looks cool. Would like to see it in plastic. Would love to have seen it in the place like the stinking dragon that we're going to get in the Kurita Command Lance. Ugh. But I'll tell you, as much as the Daikyu is a missed opportunity, the next mech is a massive disappointment as a missed opportunity. The Gallo Glass. The Gallo Glass... No. It needs to be up here. In fact, I should probably put it in the first spot if we really need these in plastic. The Gallo Glass is a mercenary-built mech for mercenaries. It's built on Outreach by Blackwell Industries. The fact that this thing was not included in the Mercenaries Kickstarter will forever drive me insane. Because when I think of mercenary mechs that mercenaries, are really for mercenaries, I got three designs that leap to mind before any others. The Gallo Glass, the Black Watch, and the Verfolger. Those mechs are Merc mechs built by Mercs for Mercs. In the pack, I think you could toss in an Arctic Fox, I think it's called. The awful little, I think it's a Kellhound's Omni mech. Terrible looking, boxy design from 3060. But those three I mentioned, though, those are Merc mechs. Those are really Merc mechs. And the fact that we didn't get any of them in the Mercenaries Kickstarter drives me loco. Just, why not? Why? Just call it Mercenaries Lance. Doesn't matter. I know they're from Kellhounds and Northwind Highlanders and Wolf Dragoons. I don't care. They should have been a Lance. They should have been a Lance. Or involved in Lances or something. Dang it all. I wouldn't have cared if they're just 4 salvage boxes that had those, or 3 salvage boxes that had those in there. I wouldn't have cared. I would have bought the heck out of those. Especially the Gallo Glass. I've always loved the Gallo Glass. But, no. Merc mechs built by Mercs for Mercs, not included in the Mercenaries Kickstarter. Next up, we got the Hercules. And I think we need it in plastic, even though the Hercules does suffer from that weird syndrome in that era, that design era. There were a whole bunch of heavy mechs that came out with this combination of weapons. LBX, ERPPC, something else. Hercules, Verfolger, yada, yada, yada. It's just a very common conceit because it's got better heat efficiency for an LBX and an ERPPC than 2 ERPPCs, and it's better weight savings than 2 LBXs. So it's a weird pairing. It's common but weird, and I like to see both of those, both the Verfolger, not in the list, because the Verfolger is from 3060 technical readout, and the Hercules, yeah, I like to see them both in plastic. Next up, though, I would really love to see the Thunder in plastic. The Thunder is got a new older brother in the most recent technical readout. That's not 3025 Centennial Edition. My brain's blanking. That's fine. I'll put it on the little screen. Called the Lightning, and they look very similar. They just got a little bit of torso weaponry and changes in armor. They're really cool. I like them both. I like the little hat they've got on the helmet or the head area. I like to see them both put into plastic. And hey, Capella comes up in one of the Aces boxes. Maybe we'll get him in there. I mean, I can hope, right? Next up, Bandersnatch. The Bandersnatch, by Bander Industries. I love the Bandersnatch. The Bandersnatch is just a fun mech. It's not brilliant. 3 LRM5s, 2 LB10Xs, medium lasers. Yay, go to town. My favorite thing is the story they have on the fluff for the Bandersnatch, though. The medium lasers were melting, so we raised them a meter, and then they stopped melting. Why? We don't know. It's like, to me, like, it just sounds like an engine, like a on the field engineering on the fly solution of this didn't work. Why? No idea. But we fixed it. How and why? Again, no idea why, but it works. I love it. I absolutely love that. I'm gonna take the Rakshasa. Now, I like the Rakshasa, but it's kind of a take it or leave it mech for me because I'll move it to would be nice. You can just use a Mad Cat mini in its place because the Rakshasa is just the inner sphere's sharper angled, less efficient, incompetent brother to the Mad Cat. And so you can just say, oh, this Mad Cat model just represents a Rakshasa if you're, not using bottle caps, pieces of paper, or string to represent your mechs. Because, it's Battletech. Whatever you need to do, you can use. The War Dog. The War Dog badly needs to be redone. Because when we redo mechs, when they've been redoing the mechs, they're always coming out with new record sheets for them. And the War Dog is a mech that seriously needs new record sheets. Because the War Dog is one of the most egregious wasters of tonnage of any mech in existence. I mean, we're not talking an mech with 4 AC2s bad, Daboku. We're talking a mech that carries way too much Gauss ammo. In addition to way too much Gauss ammo, it carries 2 Streak SRM2 one-shots. Not the improved one-shots, the original one-shots. The terrible, god-awful, why did this ever exist weapon. They're terrible. I mean, the original one-shot systems for every missile system was raw trash. I mean, it was a bad game design all the way around. And so the War Dog has 2 of them. Plus, I think 48 Gauss rifle shots, because everyone needs 6 tons of Gauss rifle ammo. Yeah, no, it's a massive tonnage waster. But beyond that, it needs a new design because it had, in the old days, the no torso twist quirk, which no longer exists. And the War Dog doesn't really have a torso can twist because it's a ping pong ball jammed between 2 sticks. And so, like, it needs a redesign to give it a torso that can twist. So that'd be nice to see. So it just did badly. I think the Salamander would be really nice to see in plastic because it's just a really, really, really nice missile boat. I've always liked the way it looks. It's just a nice, clean missile boat. So I like to see it in plastic. But not as much as I want to see the Albatross in plastic. The Albatross one of those mechs I just kind of have a bizarre like for. It's not good at anything. It can do a little bit of everything. It looks crazy. It's under armored. It's just fun. I've always liked the mech because it's just like, it's a spastic collection of stuff on the field. It's not a well-designed mech. It's not a well-thought-out mech. It's just a, hey, these parts all kind of jammed together and they became a mech. Go. So I like that one. I'm going to put the Cerberus down into the would-be-nice category because it's a faster, lower-armored gunslinger. I mean, they both carry double Gauss with a bevy of lasers, so yay. I like the Cerberus design more than the Gunslinger's design. Image-wise, I like the armor smoothness of it better, but we have one. We don't really have to have the other right away. In the future, yes, do make it, but it's, again, this frame had a lot, this time frame, the 55 frame, had a lot of repeat design as themes. Double Gauss, lasers, LBX PPC, yada yada. I mean, the Salamander's a good missile boat, and it came out at the same time as the Naginata. But I'd much rather see a Naginata in a pack because, oh geez, that's the mech that should have been in the Kurita Command Lance, because that is your true Kurita Command mech. That is usually a badass C3 master on the field. That's what you want. I want to ask. It's LRMs, ERPPCs, and the best one has a C3 master computer. Or is that 2-3 C3 masters? Oh, memory failing me a bit now. But yeah, seriously. That is your command mech. That's your godly command mech. And where is it not? It's not in the upcoming Kurita Command Lance. Instead, we have a Roku Rokubi. Yay, that's a command mech, sure. The Shiro, not what I consider command mech either. But whatever. Akuma, yes. Dragon, no. So in the Command Lance, we have one Commandy mech. And then a garbage mech. And then 2 other mechs. Although those are not brilliant mechs either, in my opinion. Oh, my nose itches now. Oh. Okay, so we've now hit the end of 55. And the next 4 mechs are mechs I think are probably already on their way. And that's because they all have updated artwork already. The Naga, the Nexus/Star Viper, the Raijin, and the Grand Crusader/Star Crusader all have modern artwork. So it makes me think they've got to be in the pipeline somewhere. Maybe the Naga's coming in the wolf part of one of the Aces boxes? Maybe. Don't know. Nexus, Raijin, and Grand Crusader? I don't know. The Grand Crusader is an interesting one because it works as a Word of Blake mech or as a clan mech later on when they kind of just strip the design out and make it a clan tech design. So go to town. Well, actually, the Nexus, the Star Viper variant, is also a clan tech design of that mech as well. So interesting concepts are there. I don't know where these could fall, but they make me think that with those new artworks, they are coming sometime sooner rather than later. So out of this set of 61 mechs, those are the 4 I expect to see the earliest of any of these. Next up is going to be, we're getting to 58, and then we have 2 from 3060, which I'm only including because they were in my Clan Invasion technical readout. But now let's go through the 3058 ones. First up, we have the Raptor. And I'm going to put that as the take it or leave it slot. Because very honestly, if you want to run a Raptor right now, a Flea looks just about the same. Good enough to run as a Raptor Omni-Mech. No one's going to be complaining. If you want a mech that, you know, really swaps in and not just use a bottle cap or a piece of clay or a stick figure you made and a popsicle sticks. Falcon Hawk, I'm going to put in the take it and leave it slot also just because I don't really care about the mech. I'm being mean. I just don't care about it. Owens, same place. Because the Owens is really just the Jinner Omni-Mech. Closer to a Jinner 2C than a normal Jinner, but hey, whatever. Still, you know, you just set up a Jinner on the table and say, hey, that's an Owens Omni, and it's good enough. The next three are in the do not need category because the Strider is just a Cicada. The Firestarter Omni-Mech is just a Firestarter. And the Blackjack Omni-Mech is just a Blackjack. We already have those three minis. They don't need new minis. They literally are, even more than the Owens or the Raptor. You can just sort of say, yes, this Cicada is a Strider Omni-Mech. They look the same, more or less. You have the Strider's a little bit more boxy. I mean, compared to even a Cicada, the Strider's a little bit more boxy. The Firestarter is a bit more boxy than the Firestarter Omni-Mech. Doesn't matter. We don't need them as minis. We already have a Firestarter mini. That's good enough to say is a Firestarter Omni. Same with the Blackjack. I mean, even less of a difference. The Blackjack Omni to a Blackjack is like, they are the same mech, appearance-wise. I mean, if we get the Centurion has an Omni variant, we do not need to see a Centurion Omni mech. Just like we don't need to see a Enforcer 3 mech, because if you own an Enforcer model, you have the Enforcer 3 already. It's the same mech. You don't need a new model for it. In fact, I'm going to skip ahead a bit, and I'm going to take the Blackhawk Coup, and I'm going to do the same thing, because if you've got a Blackhawk mini, it's good enough for Blackhawk Coup. Yeah, I know the Blackhawk Coup is more boxy and heavier, but no one, it's a Blackhawk is a Blackhawk, isn't it? Good enough. Next up, we have the infield, and I'm going to stick the infield up here, and we really need these in plastic, because I used to Civil War reenact, and I liked my infield rifle. So, infield, going in the... we really need these. Yes, weird reason. Don't care. Like the name. Line holder. This would be nice. Not a brilliant mech. It's okay. So, it's nice. It'd be nice. Maelstrom. That one needs to be up. We need this in plastic. Because, like the Dragonfire I spoke of in other videos, it too is a squashed frog mech. And squashed frog mechs need love and need to be brought into the modern aesthetic. The Obakemono is going to be in the take it or leave it category. I'm not going to put it down the do not need because it's down here, but my real personal opinion is very muchly that Arrow 4 artillery on the battlefield, I don't really like that much. I do not mind artillery as a battlefield support item. That is fine. I like using artillery that way. But actually having artillery on the battlefield itself, unless it's like an objective you're trying to hit, like using the new long tongue objectives, not really a fan of it. Yeah, I just have never liked it. It's just my personal opinion. There are probably plenty of people out there do enjoy using the Arrow 4, tagging someone and hitting them in the face. That's fine. Not my cup of tea, though. Next up is the Sunder, and the Sunder is one we really need in plastic because it's actually a relatively unique-looking Omni. It's not a pretty-looking Omni. It's very much just a box on top of two other boxes, and it could definitely use a import. It would have been another really good command mech to stick in the Karita Command Lance, but alas, we get another dragon. I'm just going to let that sink in. Instead of a good command mech, we get another dragon. Nighthawk would be nice, but I'm not going to put any really into this in plastic because, you know what, I'm going to grab the Nighthawk, the Talon, the Lynx, and the Cestus. And they're all going to go in the, it would be nice, but not quite as high up. Mainly because they're weird mechs. The loadouts are fine on them, but all their designs are kind of strange, uniquely weird, strange bendy angles, weird arm positioning, jutting your lower waist out on like the Lynx. The Cestus is like a hunched up over old man. They're weird designs. They're very imaginative and weird designs, but I'd like to see them imported into the modern era, but that, you know, not as much as some of these other mechs. They're just kind of like a block of very weird little fellas. And of those four flares, any of them has to push up into the we really need this in plastic, I'd say it's the Talon. I've always liked the Talon. But I personally much prefer the shootist. I like the shootist big boxy like cannon on the side. That's always been kind of cool to me. So it'd be nice to see it in plastic. Nice updater. Oh, the striker. Hello. Take it or leave it because here's a weird admission for you. I don't think I've ever used a striker in a game of Battletech ever. Striker light tanks, yes. Striker mech, no. I don't even think I can recall most of those weapons off the top of my head. It has an AC5, right? I don't know that mech, so take it or leave it. I'll just leave it for now. That's the end of 58. We got the 2 from 55. And that is the poor little Commando 2C. And you know what? I'm just going to stick it right there because take it or leave it. I don't even care about it. You can just use a Commando model in its place. Good enough. It's a Commando 2C. Does anyone feel bad about it being there? No, not really. Especially not when you compare it to the very last mech on the list. This is, in my opinion, the second biggest overlook of every mech from this time, from these technical readouts. Biggest overlook. Or second biggest. Not as big as the Gallo Glass, which I will still be angry about not getting. But this is the Nodachi. The Nodachi, again, should have been in the Creative Command Lance over anything in there except for the Akuma. This is a really good mech. It's a solid mech on the field. It pairs up with anything. It's got the C3 variant. The C3 Slave variant pairs up with anything that's got C3 Master. It's got a sword. If you want to keep with the sword theme of the Roku Rokubi and the Shiro, it'd be a third sword in the pack. Drop out the dragon, put the Nodachi in instead. Would have been a better idea. But alas, no. The Nodachi has been ignored for now. And it's really sad because look at how many Kurita mechs are left over up there. Wolf Trap, Hitman, Komodo, Daikyu, Naginata, and Nodachi are specifically Kurita mechs that have been left up there. And we don't have them announced in force packs. So there's like at least 2 more force packs they could announce for Kurita of brand new unique designs. Well, we've come to the end, and I hope you've enjoyed my ramblings about these 61 misbegotten mechs that we've forgotten. Misbegotten, forgotten, whatever. These overlooked wonders of the battlefield that we just don't have minis announced for even. So maybe those top 4. Maybe. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, do the typical YouTube things, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'm hoping to be able to keep it on and keep making more videos. It won't be a fast pace, but, hopefully no massive hiatuses again. And let's just, talk about Battletech. If you think some of my positioning for these mechs is a bit off or weird, or there's some mech on there you absolutely love and I put it too low, or there's something up I loved and you think is just too high, just leave a comment. We can just engage in healthy discussion. Anyways, yeah, I've been SleeplessRonin. I hope you've enjoyed my nonsense ramblings about these mechs. And if you have, yeah, YouTube it up. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time. Sayonara.